Hey, what's up people? Autumn is such a beautiful time of the year. I really enjoy autumn and winter, to be honest. I like it more than summer. What can I say? I like the cold. And it is very cold today, but hopefully the cold wind doesn't interrupt our video too much. This is the Sog Spec Arc. As you might have realized by now, I'm doing videos of all my large folders currently. So for the next couple of weeks you will only see full 4-inch bladed one-handed opening EDC folders, and yeah, this is the Sog Spec Arc. Obviously the size is 4 inches or 10 centimeters of blade length. I think it's like a 3.5 millimeter thick blade. And you can see it has this distinctive Sog recurve blade with a lot of strength here at the shoulders towards the tip. So it is center lined strong, but then it has a nicely done hollow grind. It is not the absolute sliciest blade with how it is set up, because there is a lot of thick material here. And for instance, if you do some food cutting, you will have a lot of binding at the shoulders. This is a terrible knife to slice food with. But it is a really good EDC knife for a lot of other tasks. I like recurves especially because they have this grabbing effect. If you cut something, there is a really high chance that whatever you are cutting is gonna get cut by this belly in the front section here, and you don't slip off, which is something that can happen with blades that have a too steep of an angle here in the front. Yeah, it's just a gorgeous blade shape in my opinion. Now, about Sog knives, there was this time where Sog was really good, and then for some reason they moved a lot of their production overseas to China. And I mean, they were always overseas produced, but they had a lot of Japanese stuff in the beginning, and then they moved a lot of their stuff to China. They got really cheap, and not cheap in a good way. They were really inexpensive and low quality products. And in the good times, Sog had the Spec Elite line of knives, which was the full 4-inch bladed recurve blades. They had some even a little bit bigger than 4 inches, and then the smaller ones were the Visionaries. Okay, this is for instance an old Sog Visionary 2, long out of production by now. I found this in a store that was still having these very randomly. I had to pick it up because these are no longer in production, and this is a unused knife. And yeah, you can see the Visionary 2 is a little bit smaller, so it's like a 9.5. What is that? Like 9.5. It's a Benza size basically. This is a Benza sized Sog with the same recurved blade, also with a hollow ground blade, VG10, made in Seiki City, Japan. And Sog did a lot of these Seiki City recurves. And yeah, for some reason they moved their production to China. They discontinued all their good knives, and in their worst time, where the knives were really low quality, they made an effort to bring back the Spec Elite line with this knife right here, the Sog Spec Arc. It is really almost the same or very similar knife than the Spec Elite. Just has a different kind of FRN material here, and I have to say this is a really high quality FRN material. It feels so close to G10, you can't even you can't almost take feel the difference between this and G10. So this is a really high quality handle material. But I guess part of the reason why this knife never sold well is the branding. You have Sog 1, 2, 3, 4 times on the knife right here. It's just a little bit cheesy, to be honest. But the material of the FRN is really high quality. If you think of, everybody knows how Spyderco's FRN feels like. This is much better in terms of quality. Like I said, very close to G10, how G10 feels. So their effort was really good. They also went back to their Japanese manufacturer. They made it in VG10. The VG10 blade is nicely done. I have tested this knife in an edge retention test in a comparison between a Spyderco Endura and a Kaiser, I think it was a Kaiser Domen and all of those are VG10 knives. And the Spec Elite is much harder, so it has much more edge retention than the Spyderco VG10. It is not as well heat treated as the Kaiser VG10s, but it is very, very good in terms of how it performs. And you get all the benefits of VG10 basically. It sharpens up easily, it takes a hair-popping sharp edge, and it takes it very quickly, and you can re-strop that edge once you have used the knife a little bit. So I like the VG10 here. I think it's a well done, well heat treated VG10. But yeah, Sog's attempt to bring back, you know, a little bit of the good old times when they were really bad, it kind of didn't work out. A lot of people missed this knife. It also was a little bit highly priced when it came out. I think I paid like 150 back when I bought it. Now, I'm gonna be really honest, in today's world, 150 for what you get here is not a lot. But back then it was too much, to be honest. Yeah, the good old times, yeah, where 150 was expensive for a knife, but now that's actually an inexpensive knife. Anyways, it's for some reason that it didn't work out with I guess it was too little marketing, too few people understood that this knife was actually not made in China and not the low quality that Sogs were at that time. And yeah, this knife was discontinued because it probably didn't sell well. And yeah, they rebranded Sog after that, and Sogs have gotten a little bit better in quality since then. But I think it's kind of sad what happened to Sog because they kind of lost their design language. If you look at the old Sog knives, and this is very much similar to the old Sog knives, the Sog Spec Arc here is similar to the Spec Elite line or the Visionary here. This design language has never returned to Sog for some reason. And I don't get it, because this right here is, to me, what makes Sog, you know, is that recurved blades, Seiki City made, VG10, FRN handles, and an arc lock, which is similar to the Axis lock from Benchmade, just a little bit differently done. And they never put those designs back to the market, which is a shame, because I don't know, if I look at Sog now, I think their quality is better than when they made everything in China, but they kind of lost their way. I don't see Sog being Sog anymore. As this knife is still, this is probably the last true Sog knife in the old design language. They have a couple of their Bowies still that are designed similar, but the quality on those is not that great either. But yeah, this one is a good knife in terms of how it performs, how well it's made, and also how it is designed. It's just a beautiful recurved blade. I'm sorry, my camera goes out of focus all the time, I don't know why. Let's see if we can get a good shot of this blade. Nicely done recurve. So the benefits of a recurve are very positive. You have that dragging material into that kind of curvature and cutting it very efficiently. The negative things here are obviously resharpening, but with VG10 you don't have that much of an issue as long as you keep it, you know, sharpened or touched up regularly. If you strop it regularly, which stropping is not an issue at all with recurved blades. I also have one of these rods that's made of a diamond. It's a diamond coated rod that's also really good at sharpening this blade. And yeah, if you have a Spyderco Sharp Maker and use the fine ceramic, then you can also keep this touched up pretty easily. So sharpening is actually not as big of a deal as you may think it is. I think it's even easier than with other knives, because you put it on a strop regularly, you put it on one of these sharpening rods, and it sharpens up just fine. You just cannot go to a stone like with other knives, so that's the only drawback here. Yeah, the weight and the size factor is also really good. As you can see, this is not a big knife by any means. I like the symmetrical shape when it's closed. In general, the handle is shaped very nicely. You can see that it is a little bit thinner in the middle section, and then it widens towards the end, which is kind of the only bad thing here is that you sometimes have problems getting the knife out because the clip wants to bind on that corner back here. As you can see, the clip goes over the handle, and then there is this gap, and your pant material, if it's too thin, goes into that spot right here. So you need to be careful with that when you put it in your pocket. But other than that, I think the shape is very nice because it makes for a very comfortable knife, especially with the aforementioned molds over the corners. That's a really comfortable knife for longer using. So hard use, no hot spots on this knife at all, in my opinion. Every hand is different, of course. But yeah, it's a very solid feeling handle, and it kind of locks you in a positive way, despite it is so, yeah, such a simple handle when it's closed. And I really like that because it carries well. It doesn't take a lot of pocket space, basically. The weight is about 120 grams, which is like a little bit over 4 ounces. So not bad at all in terms of weight and size. The size is, it's a large blade, but it doesn't carry like a large blade. Yeah. Again, here's the similarities or differences to the Visionary 2. I like the Visionary 2 as well. This one is not as well made, I would say, than this one. But this is also a much older knife. And yeah, the grind is a little bit thinner on the Spec Arc than on the Visionary 2. But both of these are not slicers in terms of, you know, cut endless amounts of vegetables with. No, these are more like EDC blades where you want to hook material into, and you want to have a pointy, stabby blade and then a thicker spine that's a little bit more robust. So it is a good EDC shape. I have another recurve folder with me today. This is a Kaiser. Is this the sliver? Yeah, this is the sliver. The Kaiser sliver. I have this one for a while as well. But as you can see, I think that Sog recurve design is just a little bit different and a little bit more sexy. And you don't see a lot of recurved knives anymore. Makes sense because now everybody uses, you know, steels like M390 and stuff. You don't want to have a knife in M390 with a recurve. It's gonna be a nightmare to sharpen. But with VG10, it's really not an issue. So yeah, I don't mind that this is quote still VG10. I think it's very good that this is VG10 because it works very well with that blade shape. So yeah, this is my second video I think about this knife, and in my first video I already explained how underrated this knife is. Yeah, sadly it's not available anymore, but it is still, like the Visionary, a really good old school Sog knife design. I hope they bring this shape back because this is so cool, man. This is just an incredible, nicely done blade shape. Yeah, that's it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. In my next video, like I said, I will be doing another video about another 4-inch bladed folder that I have. And yeah, maybe we see each other in another video. Goodbye, people.